Welcome to another episode of FellowShipped. I don't know what that was. Just in case. Welcome to another episode of FellowShipped. Blech. Welcome to another episode of FellowShipped.
Fellow here to entertain, just for fun, hell for fame. Big world, let's have some fun. You're the stars, I'm the sun.
You know, I've been going with themes for these episodes, you, what you could do, how to do it, why you should do it, what you should do it for. I think this one's a little bit more about me. Me. I mean, it's my show. My name's in it. I'm the star, I'm the director. You ever see the credits for these things? If you haven't, basically I do everything because I do pretty much do everything.
Have we met? Do you know me?
I am someone when I'm alone.
I'm nobody to you.
I am who I am.
I'm an author, talented, but wildly underappreciated.
I am a director.
I'm an artist.
Most of all, an unassailable spirit of loyalty, comradeship, and mutual responsibility.
I am a person.
I want to be heard.
So here I am.
I'm not everything I want to be yet, but I'm a lot of things I wanted to be 2 years ago.
It's not the critic who counts. It's not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done it differently. The credit belongs to the person who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred with sweat and dust and blood, who strives valiantly, who comes up short again and again and again, who in the end may know the triumph of high achievement, and who, when he fails, he does so daring greatly.
I really wanted to reflect on my past and how I got here and different things. I even took a Q&A for different segment ideas or like what people wanted me to answer about. And first off, I just figured it would be me. Just me. But what does that mean for you? Why would you want to hear anything about me? How I got here, why I'm doing it? I don't think I really talk about my past with anyone, like, growing up and all that nonsense. It's starting to get a ways away from me, and I think maybe if I talk about it now, I might remember something good. I might remember what put me on this path. I might remember what ignited my passion for doing whatever it is I do. I've heard before that on the internet you really shouldn't get too personal, but I don't know how I can do something like this and not get personal. I mean, I try to say that my friend or this person, this and that. I don't really name drop. I'm not even name dropping myself. I'm just the fellow. But if I talk about the past, I mean, I'm gonna probably think of situations of people and or family members, and here's the thing, you're either gonna think it's you or you're not if you're listening to the show or watching it, whatever you do. If you're seeing this clip, hearing this clip, just know it's for content. It's not about you. I don't remember much growing up. That much is true. And I hear some of that is apparently a trauma-based response, but I really don't think I had much trauma. I mean, I know I was like three or four maybe, and I know I fell in a bathtub and busted my chin open a couple times, had stitches. I vaguely remember that, and I know where I used to live where that happened. Got wiped out by a tornado shortly after we moved out, and I don't think a near miss counts as anything. Then we get to the epitome of that age where I was sleeping, wake up, and find my mother figure being in a brawl with the man she's seeing. I just remember running to the neighbors so they could call the police, and that's really all I remember. Shortly after that, my mom was at about 4 children's, and she was a single mother, and I was the oldest and or the worst. I don't know, don't really remember. That's what I get told. But I go and live with my grandparents, and my mom and the siblings are usually always close for the majority of that time span until their teens, my late teens. And that really sort of shaped how I am who I am compared to them. Unfortunately, it's hard to not bring them down if I don't talk about it. I know each person chooses to make the choices they choose, and I was eventually fully adopted by my grandparents, so technically my grandma's my mom and my mom's my sister, a good joke I like to tell people because it's true. My mother married a guy, moved away to Oklahoma with the 3 other siblings, and I would say that was probably the tipping point. Not that they didn't have their own troubles here and there before then, but the guy wasn't a great guy. He had his own problems, maybe with drugs and or other things. I don't really know. I wasn't privy to a lot of that, but of course that affected them. And then they came back maybe a year to 2 years later, and they definitely weren't the same. And that definitely led to them making different choices, especially when they became adults. While I believe some of that is way beyond their control, I mean, one has a mental illness that is propagated by something inside of them that they can't control. One developed, I want to say they probably all developed a drug problem, but one developed it so bad they died multiple times and were to the point where it was very bad. If they didn't turn their life around, they had been in jail many a times now for doing various things, and they have since changed, and that's great for them, because I wouldn't say it to them. So if they find this and they hear this, that's fine. I don't care. I'm making it now because I don't know how else to say it. But they used to want to talk to me, want to be family with me so bad, you know, because I distanced myself from them, mostly from them doing this stuff, because I was never like that. I was never into that stuff, obviously. I didn't want to be in jail neither, or I didn't want to die, or I didn't want to do drugs to, you know, spiral out, have a terrible life. It got to the point where it felt like if I didn't respond, or if I, you know, would have done something, or if I would have been there, that I would have fixed them. I don't believe that, and I'm sure at this point in their life they can reflect and see that probably wasn't the case either. Had I been there, chances are it would have either affected me negatively, or it would have worked out for them differently in a worse way. I don't know. We can't go down the road of what ifs. What I do know, and what we do know now, is because of all those missteps, he got to the point where he got clean, he got sober. He is a working guy that works around the clock to support a family of 2 kids that he loves and that loves him, that he takes care of. And my grandparents are proud of him. My mom is proud of him from what I've seen, and I'm proud of him too. And he doesn't call me as much or try to make as much contact because he's too busy taking care of his life and his family. And I don't think that's an insult. I don't think it's bad. I think that's great. Then there was the youngest in the family, who I would arguably say was also like the closest to me at the time for a long while, when I moved out on my own with my friend, and eventually we brought my little brother in and all lived together until that kind of went sideways because I thought we were all making different choices with our life. And I said, well, I'm not going to live here anymore. You're not going to be able to afford it anymore. You're going to have to go somewhere else. And I think that led him down a path of bad choices, which I'm sure even he would say to me, it's not my fault. As everybody else always says to me, he made the choices he made, but he got into some trouble and his life was never the same either. I can honestly say I don't know what he's doing with his life. I wish he was doing something. I know his options have become a lot more limited, but he could still do something. These guys are all mid to late 20s still. About time is a weird concept. We're all getting older. It's crazy to think about sometimes, but all these decisions and choices led us down different paths. And even though we got separated when we were young, we all chose different paths that didn't end up so great for some and ended up okay for others. And I think I turned out fine. I'm doing okay. I have a pretty good life. I'm open to talking to whoever, seeing whoever, and if they ever wanted advice or what I thought about it, I try to give it now. Back then, maybe like 5+ years ago, I was always reserved or trying not to give my opinion because I'd rather stay out of it. They were still in these ways of doing things that I didn't like, and if I gave my input or told them what I thought, I don't think it would have mattered. I think they still would have made negative choices and gone down the wrong path regardless. And I think that's why I distanced myself so much. But I think as time goes on, more things happen, you get different perspectives, and I think that's where I'm at as an adult and maturing. That's where I stand on my past to an extent. I told one side of it, but I think it's time for a little break from all the chit chat for another foreign film review, because I want to get one in, show you some entertainment, take a step back from all the seriousness, and just talk about a movie or something, get out of this real world rut, and throw it over to me. Fellow here, back with another foreign movie review for you, this time with the 2019 film, The Rookies. While The Rookies is a Chinese-led, starred, film, directed, written Chinese film, for some reason the leading point is interestingly dressed and shaped Mia Jovovich with a heavy smoker's lung, and her name is Bruce.
My name is Bruce. We belong to a group of special agents that deal with terrorists.
And I honestly don't remember how much screen time she has, but she's important to the film. She is, but our main character is Zhao Feng, who is kind of like an extreme sports guy who accidentally stumbles into a foreign arms deal between some terrorist groups. And Bruce recruits him into this super secret faction that just take down bad guys, and his understanding was, so he's going to be like James Bond. My confusion with the movie is it seems like a parody movie, but it's also very serious, and for the first half, the main character is definitely an idiot, but in the second half, he's actually very competent doing what he's doing. So that part kind of confused me. It could just be me going, I must have missed something. I don't think I did, but it doesn't make the movie bad. Zhao Feng essentially gets told to go on a mission undercover by Bruce, and things go sideways, and it's just him and a group of other people that probably shouldn't be involved, and somehow it all works, and we've got a team, which we're calling the Rookies, and they have to deal with these groups and try and stop them, save the world. I've never heard of or seen this film before. It was just a random stumble upon. It had a budget of like $46 million, and it made about 3. So it didn't do so good. A lot of people didn't watch it no matter how it looked. I've watched it. I would say it's actually not that bad. Maybe a 6 out of 10 for me personally. It has some moments. It has some really good moments. Mia's really fun in it. It's just, I guess basically of everything I've ever seen her done, this was just a more out there one, and she was an interesting character. So I think the movie as a whole is still pretty solid, better than average. And if you just want a fun time and you don't really have much expectations, it could be for you. Especially if you do like spy type movies, but also humor, because that's some of the stuff is kind of wonky. There's some wonky stuff, very unrealistic. It's a movie. Movies are supposed to be fun. I think that's all I really have to say about it. Until next time, I'll catch you later.
Now back to more Fellowship.
I was raised as an only child, and because of that, I had a lot of alone time, which meant either I was making up things by myself, so playing with toys, Legos, whatever kids do, and imagining these worlds, building forts in the living room, camping outside in the tent in the yard. Things that kids do, I imagine. My other best friend growing up was the television. I mean, how could it not be? Everything I chose to watch on my own. So like Star Trek, I got super into Star Trek. That was all on me. Like nobody ever put a show on for me. I always picked what I wanted to watch and watched it, and that's how it went. Because especially during the summer, after like a certain age, I used to go to summer camp, and then it was just me at home by myself, which was okay then. Now, yeah, unless you got like cameras and 20 bolts on the door, don't leave your kids at home. I don't know. I'm not a parent. I don't have the advice for that. I spent most of my time at home alone with TV or doing stuff with my imagination. So like middle school and high school for me would have been that time frame in which I got my hands on the internet and being able to explore, expand what I consume and see and write. I started writing pretty young too, and now I'm still trying to get back to that. The past couple years I was super into it because like I've always had ideas. I've always had ideas and never the means or the follow through to do the ideas or complete them. And then my friend's like, hey, I might start a indie book business. You could be a part of that. And I was like, okay. And that gave me a little fire to write for a little bit, but overall I kind of fizzled out eventually. But lately I've been taking a swing at it again, trying to complete or at least continue some stuff I've already started, which I haven't talked about on here before, but I've promoted upon various places. Like I've written Ducking Around in Another World, which plays on all the tropes of the isekai / reincarnation in another world anime genre, and then I kept turning it into something else. But it starts out very basic until like near the end of volume 2, because I took a break for like half a year to read fantasy books, and you can literally see the change from my writing within that series. And then I started a new series called The Kingslayer King, which is kind of like an alternate universe medieval type thing, where It's not really fantasy, there's not magic, but there is kind of magic. And see, it sounds goofy to explain, but it was a concept of me trying to come up with a backstory for what happened in Ducking Around in Another World as its ancient lore. And I was just like, nah, this seems like a good idea for another story. And the idea was simple. It's kind of like a medieval The One, as in the movie with Jet Li, The One, where he crosses off different universes, takes out versions of himself to become more powerful. Like, it's not the same, but that's a very close idea concept. My idea concept was that there is a king that believes that all other royalty is connected in some way to divinity, and they need to be taken out so we can sever the ties of humans and gods. And that was the concept I thought was cool, so that's why he's called the Kingslayer King, because he takes out other kings, queens, and their lines. And I ran with it, and I was like, okay, how do I keep this going? This is a good prelude or prologue to this story, and how do I go from here? And I came up with the beginning, middle, and end of that story really quick. I just have not written it all. I have written Act 1, and Act 1 is available for you to read. But these are just things I've never really talked about. Like, even in a promotional video, like, yeah, I'll say I'm writing. I won't really say what it's about or anything, which, makes me pretty terrible at promotion and marketing when I know I can do it all right. It's just more effort than I was willing to put in at the time. But you know what? There's another form of writing, or rather thinking, and that's something I see often is top lists. And because the episode is all about me, I figured I would do a few top lists of my favorite things when it comes to entertainment. Let's throw it over to me and see what I've got. Welcome to the top list segment of our special episode where we're talking just about me and the things I like, and we're going to do sort of a quick fire, rapid succession, maybe a little bit of explanation in terms of top lists. We asked some people, some friends, some fans to come up with theirs and what they wanted me to answer, and so I'm going to redirect to myself the first on the list. Some people like to have comfort shows on in the background or something they rewatch over and over again. Do you have a top 3 in comfort shows? I do. There are multiple shows that I don't mind watching over and over again, and whether it's on in the background or not, I will know what's going on, know what's happening because I've seen them multiple times, and that is Hey Arnold, King of the Hill, and Psych. This one was a request. Your top 3 animated Disney childhood videos. So specifically animated feature films from your childhood that are your top 3. Okay, when I think about it, it's hard to not pick the ones, aimed at boys, with Aladdin and Hercules, and then maybe an outlier in The Black Cauldron. I think those were probably my top 3 for sure. You used to make music in the past or write music. What were your top music influences back in the day? While I think there actually are a good handful, it's hard to not think about maybe Andrew McMahon, who is the lead singer and founder of such groups as Something Corporate, Jack's Mannequin, and his self-titled group, and then Max Bemis of Say Anything / Two Tongues and his own solo stuff. I think both of those were heavy influencers of me in middle school when I was really getting into music and delving into tons of different genres, which of course led me into the emo scene, and bands like Mayday Parade and Pierce the Veil have stuck around with me since. I still jam out to all of them, all these, whenever they pop on and I feel like it. But there's a lot of newer stuff too that I'm into. It depends how I'm feeling. We're already a bit into 2026. Do you already have a standout thing, like in terms of TV show or movie, that is already your top for the year so far? Honestly, I've watched a good handful of stuff, and a lot of it's been enjoyable. It's hard to just be like, yeah, this is probably it for me, because we've still got a lot of year left, but the second season of Ted has been a standout for being pretty ridiculous, and I think I was laughing most of the time. While I think I have watched some prominent films, mostly not from this year, so I don't know if that's more of what we were leaning towards, stuff that came out this year, and so I'm just gonna leave that question unfinished to an extent. I will say an honorable mention of a film was a Japanese film called Before We Vanish. I watched it not that long ago, and it was very unique, and it had me sucked in very well. It was a really interesting concept that kept me sucked in, that I kept wanting to watch and figure out what was going on. Was this really happening? What more will I see? And it's just a really crazy slow burn, and I enjoyed it. I don't think I haven't not enjoyed anything else I've watched this year, and I've been chipping away at a lot of different stuff. So I think there's still a lot of time left in the year and a lot of stuff to still watch. Another incoming question in: what are your top 3 Pokemon? See, I like a good handful. Larvitar's up there. Larvitar is definitely a contender. And then maybe Ampharos, or Ampharos, however you want to say it. It's up to you. Specifically Mega, that and the glorious hair. But then I get kind of dicey on a couple of the next ones. So we've got Psyduck or Lotad. So we got some ducks. Maybe a Lotad or a Psyduck for 3. I like a lot, but yeah, Larvitar, Ampharos for sure. You talk movies, you talk anime, you talk cartoons, you talk all this other entertainment, and mention gaming sometimes. You mention gaming sometimes. But do you have any top games in like the entire history of yourself that you can think of where you're like, yeah, that game's it? Like games I could play over and over again that I've really enjoyed. I think I have a couple. For sure, the one I grew attached to when I was younger was Left 4 Dead 2. I played that for hours upon hours upon hours, and it cycled into many other zombie games, especially the Dead Island and Dying Light franchise. They were all solid. I recently did some playthroughs on almost all of the games, and some of those are up on my YouTube. But the other big mention I would say is Rage. Rage is a post-apocalyptic in a sort of desert steampunk type world with mutants and crazy big guns and fighting, and it's a real fun time. And I know they eventually made a second one, and it was okay, but nothing captured it like the first one for me. And the first one's not long at all. Maybe someday they could remaster it, expand it, quality of life stuff, make it more fun. I'd be cool with that. But other than that, I can't. I've enjoyed many a games, but none that stick with me or make me go, yeah, that one. Those are all I can think of right now. It's a little harder when you put me on the spot for all this stuff. Well then, why don't we just call it quitsies? I think we got a good handful of tops, and this will make a nice little segment. We could cut it up into bits, and everybody can see your favorite tops of each section, and that's how content's made. So we're also teaching a lesson in this video for other people. Let's throw it back over to myself so he can continue on with the words he was saying. So I've talked a little bit about goals before and things I want to accomplish in past episodes, mostly about, making a difference in other people's lives or helping them grow, helping them accomplish, or pushing them to make those decisions that lead them down the path of creation or getting out there on their own, building something kind of like what I'm doing. And I don't think I've really ever clarified what I want to do or where I want to go or how I see myself developing or what all I want to accomplish. If you haven't caught on by now, I'm doing this show called FellowShipped. It's where I talk about various subjects while entertainment makes its way in between the lines of me talking about different subjects. In the subject of me and doing FellowShipped, I also edit it into a podcast form, so we appear on Spotify and other places I hope to get out there and become more well known to those who only listen, because it's a market I haven't really tapped. I have attempted a podcast in the past. It was called Fellow and Friends, where we kind of basically did the same thing, where I would just come up with different subjects about entertainment, but I didn't really have great equipment that made editing easy and reliable, and it was just such a chore to put them out. Could I do it again now? I think so. I think if I did it like this and just had the other person on a call, that it would work out. I just haven't gotten to that stage yet. I'm still working on establishing myself solo-y, because a lot of this business is people making connections or using connections to kind of promote and lift themselves up by hanging on to somebody else. That's not what I want to do. I want to definitely build myself up and be someone you could count on if that were the case. Be like, hey, I've seen your show. You talk about stuff that I like and I talk about. You want to come share your opinions over here or be a guest or something? Then I would be like, yeah, I'd be up for that. It's a little bit different than that for other people who are just starting and they're just trying to get whatever collaborations they can get. Like, I understand that's part of the business, but at the same time, I'm not trying to make it a big business. I really just want to reach people and just do my thing. And how I grow from there and become something more, I don't know. That's part of the mystery, part of the exciting intrigue of why I do this. It's interesting to see what people react to, what people think is good or bad, and what people like compared to what they don't like. And sometimes I do change my ways, or I do something differently because of that, or I'll repeat something because I know people like it. And I just haven't got that far into this for this show to really be affected in that way. So that's why I just yammer my mouth off, spouting ideas, concepts, whatever. This time around, it's mostly stories, and that's fine. I think that is what makes me more relatable, because I'm not making crap up. I'm not acting. I'm just telling you how it is. And I think a lot of people prefer that than other stuff. Like, some people like characters. Some people do like the acting, and that's fine. I don't want to put all this effort in, all this time, all this emotion to just be like, oh no, I was just doing a bit. And trust me, I try to insert bits. I try to make it funny, but I don't think I'm that funny off the cup. Sometimes I need a little preparation, but this is improv.
Improv.
And I'm not allowed to do that. I only talked about the show. I didn't really talk about anything else. Well, in life, I'm playing games. I'm doing my other channels. I have talked about before. I've talked about how to work them into this before. When it comes to gaming, I just want to hang out and chill, but I know a lot of people like competitive gaming, so I will team up with a friend that likes playing Call of Duty sometimes. I'll play Fortnite sometimes just to kill time, and I don't really hate those kind of games. I just don't play them constantly. I do like farming sim games. There's so many to choose from, but cozy games like that, like Animal Crossing. Star Sand Island is one I've been playing a lot lately, but I was playing Coral Island before that. I've played My Time at Sandrock, My Time at Portia. I've played probably I wouldn't say 100, but probably a good 50 games like that. And a handful of them make it up onto my gaming channel where you can just chill out and put on the relaxing gameplay, and I don't really talk much for those. Other times I do try and talk, or I try to read the lines because some games don't have voice acting, like the billion-dollar company that puts out the Pokemon games don't do voices for them. So in their last entry, I read every line for Pokemon Legends ZA, and that was my streams. So I'm trying to do different stuff in different content varieties on a lot of different levels, but I'm not really looking for one to catch on and then I'm gonna just abandon everything else. Like if gaming were to catch on, I'm not gonna just stop doing the show. If anything, it's just gonna be more of, well, you're waiting for the next gaming video. Okay, well, here's what I'm doing right now. The gaming video will come, but this is my focus for this week. You'll have to wait until next week. And I think that's pretty basic, pretty general. A lot of people come up with schedules. A lot of people just say they post a video a week or something and stuff like that. And right now I'm posting quite a few videos a week for each channel, except my dubbing channel. My dubbing channel has fallen behind, and that's mostly because I do all of that on my own too. And that means finding the comics and making sure I got the credentials, so I'm giving credits to whoever made them, and then I find the sound effects I want to put into it, and then I have to record the lines and then edit it all together to make a decent presentation for you to view. And hopefully I do it funnily. Not like a funnel, but in a funny manner. But between all that, working on writing, working on music, working on editing, working on just so much stuff all the time, it's kind of hard to focus on anything else, you know? I don't mind that. I think being busy is way better than not being busy. Another thing I need to work on is my weight. Over this winter, I've put on 20 pounds back from the 100 I lost. Sorry. So I weighed 480 pounds. I got down to 380. I have put about 20 back on. Yeah, it's been winter. I haven't gone out. I haven't eaten well, and I'm hoping to change that. See, there's still ways I could improve my life, make it better, and that's always the plan. I hope to do that, and I hope that's the way it goes. I really wanted to do a better expression of myself for this episode because this is essentially my birthday episode. I age again near the posting of this video / audio, and I just was thinking about the past and where I'm at now and where I want to go, and I think everybody stops and does that from time to time. And this video, I think it offered some insights, and maybe you can relate to some of the stuff, maybe you can't, or maybe you found it interesting. I'm always open to ideas or questions or whatever else you might want to hear about, or if there's something you want me to review or check out, or if I've already checked it out, maybe give you my thoughts on it. I can always do that. I opened up a question and answer. This one is from my friend, and basically their boss neglected to acknowledge their birthday, and the question was essentially, how would you be a good boss? If I do these segments in the future, I will try to keep them short and simple. Being a good boss isn't hard. I believe I have been a manager in that position before, so I have a little bit of experience, but I have always believed, I'm sure maybe if you've been in a working business or environment, you've heard it before, people don't quit jobs, they quit bosses. I believe that has to be like at least 90% true. If you're working for a piece of crap, then you're not going to want to work for that piece of crap. So the idea that this person neglects them on their birthday but acknowledges other people's birthday and gives them a card or something but not them, that's not how it should be. If you're going to be a boss and a leader, you're going to need to do the same thing for everyone, not play favorites. You need to lift up everybody on your team to the same level, treat them the same way. And if the other people are falling short, call them out on it and move on from there. But that's a management part of it. But when you're talking about the aspect of how you treat the people that work for you, yeah, you got to treat everyone the same and not play favorites. And also, based on the way they were talking, you ever seen the picture or just imagine the group of people pulling a cinder block and the boss is sitting on top? That's not how a good leader is. The leader should be down there pulling the block with the rest of the group. I also believe that to be true. Hopefully this answers your question, and if this somehow reaches your boss, they change their ways. Help your people, lift them up, build them up, make them better to make you better, make you look good. You can't look good if you're not treating your people good. That is how a boss should be. For now, I think that will be the end of this episode. Until next time, I will catch you later.
Another day, another chance to make a difference. Tell a story or sing a song, just share who you want to become. I keep dreaming of being more than I see. That's what we do. We're all kings and queens. What are we waiting for? That lion inside to roar. It's not the end of the show. It's not the end of the road. There's no need to look back because it's time to go. It's time we take to the sky, spread our wings and take flight. We will shine in the light with the spark we set you free. I keep telling myself that there's no help and I'm all alone in this. But here you are, we've come this far. Let's do our hearts justice. What are we waiting for? Just the opening of a door. Yeah, what are we waiting for? That lion inside to roar. It's not the end of the show. It's not